Hi everyone! Thanks for joining me today. In today's video, we're going to make a loom knit earwarmer. This earwarmer is a little bit different than the other ones I've done in the past. So let's just jump right into the video. In this video, I am using Lion Brand Made Easy, a 31 peg loom, a loom hook, a pair of scissors. So we're going to start out by making a slip knot. So this is how I make it. So let's do it again. Make your yarn straight. Just wrap it around your two fingers. Put that little tail inside of the loop and pull up gently. And there you have a little loop. Go ahead and place that either on your anchor peg or your first peg, which is above the anchor peg. And we're going to wrap that working yarn around the peg and take the bottom over the top and just kind of tug on it, not too hard. We're just going to tighten it up some. So now we're going to do that to the next peg, which I'm working to my left. So I'm going to wrap the yarn once and wrap the yarn again and take that bottom loop over the top. And I'm going to continue doing this. This is our cast on. And I'm going to use 12 pegs. So again, I'm just wrapping that working yarn around the peg. And I'm taking the bottom stitch over the top stitch. The name of this yarn is called Prism. And again, it's from Lion Brand. And it's the Made Easy. On the label it says Made Easy. And again, it's made by Lion Brand. Okay, we are at our 12 pegs. We're going to skip the first peg and go the other way. So again, we're skipping the first peg and we're going to knit the second peg. And then we're going to purl. And then we're going to knit. So we're doing the knit stitch and the purl stitch. Now the purl stitch is taking that working yarn and putting it below the stitch on the peg, taking it off the loom, and putting the loop back onto the peg. So just like this, I'm pulling that yarn up off the loom, replacing the loop, and then gently tug on the working yarn. That is a purl stitch. And then we're using the U-wrap knit stitch. So we're alternating from the purl stitch, and then we're taking that yarn and just making a little U around the peg. Now we're going to finish this row with a knit stitch. So go ahead and knit the last peg. Now we're going to go the other way. Now again, we're going to skip the first peg, go to the second peg. So we're skipping the first peg, we're going to the second peg, and we're going to knit over the second peg. So we're going to do this the same way. So again, we're going to do one knit, one purl, one knit, one purl. Your last peg should be a knit. So again, your last peg should be a knit, and you should always skip the first peg going back the other way. So you'll always skip the first peg, start on the second peg, and that will be your first U-wrap knit stitch. Go nice and slow. There's no need to rush. So keep on going. Again, with your knit and your purl, knit and a purl, and the last peg should always be a knit. We're going to continue doing this. Make sure you have a tape measure. If you don't have a tape measure, I highly suggest getting one, not just for loom knitting, but it's helpful if you sew or if you do really any kind of craft to measure or just to measure in general. So I would highly suggest getting one. I am going to use my tape measure for this project, and I am going to continue this process until I get to about 17 inches. 17 inches is just a suggested size for an adult woman. I have a fairly big head, so, judge accordingly for who you're making it for and go from there. Again, it's just a suggested length of 17 inches. So keep on with your knit and your purl. So I've come back because I want to show you where I'm at, how it looks, and how knitting looks while you have the project almost done. So I'm almost done with my 17 inches, and I just wanted to come back and show you again the exact stitch that I'm doing. So if you're confused or need me to go slow, you can pause it, you can rewind it, whatever you need for this project. I want you to be comfortable in what you're doing and feel confident, because I know that you're doing great. So just keep doing great and we'll get this done. And you're going to look great in your new ear warmer. So we are almost done here. Just a few more stitches. And then we will move to our next step. We're going to actually do the basic bind off once we are done with our 17 inches. But again, like I said, I just wanted to come back and go slow and just give you a chance to see what it looks like. So I hope that makes sense. I'm excited for you to see this when it's off the loom. I think you're really going to like the stitch, and it's really warm. So with some of this weather that we're having, we need warm, because I know I'm freezing. I'm freezing as I sit here right now. So I sped up this video just to get this part done to save time. So again, I want to encourage you, if you need help, pause, rewind, do whatever you need to do to be comfortable with this project. And here we are done. We have our 17 inches. So let me remove this little working yarn here and I will show you. It's so pretty, and we're about to take it off the loom now. So I'm going to measure it just to show you, and if you can see, it is 17 inches. So a tape measure is very handy. So now we're going to take the ear warmer off of the loom. So we're going to do this by doing the basic bind off. So take your working yarn and you're going to wrap the first peg and knit over. Then you're going to wrap the second peg and knit over. Take the peg off of the second peg and place it on the first peg, and then knit over that peg. Take that stitch off of the peg and move it over to the left. Now we're going to wrap the next peg, knit over, take that stitch off of the peg, place it to the peg on the peg to the right, knit over. Take that off of the loom and put it to the left. Now we're going to wrap the next peg, knit over, take that stitch off, place it to the right, knit over, take that stitch off and place it to the left. Now we're going to wrap the next peg and knit over, take that stitch off, place it to the right, knit over that stitch, take that stitch off of the peg and place it on the peg to the left. Tighten your working yarn if you need to. Wrap the next peg, take it off of the loom, place it to the right, tighten it up a little if you need to, and knit over. Take that stitch off and place it to the empty peg on the left. Knit over, take that stitch, place it to the right. Then we're going to knit that stitch over and take that stitch off of the peg, placing it on the peg to the left. Now we're going to knit the next one. Do the same procedure for each one of these pegs. So each stitch, you're going to do the same exact process. So go ahead, we're going to knit this one, take it off the peg, place it to the right, knit over, take that off of the peg, move it to the left. We're almost done. Knit over the next peg, move it to the right. Make sure your scissors aren't in the way. All right. Now we're going to knit over that stitch, take that stitch off of the peg and move it to the left. Knit the next stitch, take that stitch off of the peg and move it to the right. Knit over, take that stitch off and place it to the left. Now we're doing our last one. Take it off of the peg, move it to the right, and then we're going to knit over our last stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to cut my working yarn and I'm going to take this last stitch off of the loom. I haven't cut my working yarn yet, I'm about to. And then once I do that, which you'll see here, I'm just going to take that tail and put it through the loop. Now you don't have to do it this way. You can actually leave that last stitch on the loom, cut your working yarn, and just bring it through that last stitch on the peg. Whatever your preference is fine. So now I'm just going to sew my loose end into the project. I also want to add that everyone sews their loose ends in different. There's no right or wrong. I've seen it done so many ways. Your main priority here is to secure that tail and make sure it's not going to come out. So it should already have a knot. So you're just going to put it in there a few times and give it a cut. It's really, too many people stress out about the loose ends, myself included. I just don't like doing it. So we did it that side. Now we're going to do the same for the other side. And we're going to use a darning needle. I recommend using a metal darning needle. However, some people do love plastic darning needles. Again, whatever your preference is fine. After this, I would like you to get a large piece of yarn because we are going to need it because we are going to do more sewing, and I'd like you to have that ready. Okay, So that part's done. So now we're going to fold our ear warmer in half right down the middle. So we're going to take one side, put it in the middle, take the other side and put it in the middle. Both sides look the same. So whatever side you like best, whatever side looks the best to you. So this is what I'm doing. And there I have it in half here. So now take your ends and fold them. So now we're just going to take those ends and make a Pac-Man mouth and fit those ends into each other. So the whole idea is we're going to twist it when we're done, just like such. So first we need to sew. So make sure those little Pac-Man mouths are eating each other. So let's do it again. So fold it in half. Then we're going to make the little Pac-Man. And then the Pac-Man are going to eat each other. Okay, secure that with your fingers and now take that piece of yarn that I had you get ready and we're going to do the whip stitch and sew this together. So take your darning needle if you haven't already and get a piece of yarn. So we'll just start at the end. It is crucial that you get all of the layers that you folded. So again, it is crucial that you make sure the needle goes through every layer that you folded up here. If it doesn't, it's going to come up funny. It's going to turn out funny. So when you're sewing, make sure that you've got all of the layers in with your darning needle. So just keep sewing. Again, we're just going to make sure we have all of our layers and we're going to go up and then you can go back the other way if you'd like to secure it and make sure that it's not going anywhere. And then we are going to tie that yarn in a knot and just weave it in and cut it. So just keep on going through all of the layers. Now when we're done sewing up these layers, we're just going to flip the ear warmer just like this. And that's going to do it for our ear warmer. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give me a thumbs up, please. And I will see you at the next one. Thanks for watching.